So you're looking to upgrade your Gradle project from Spring Boot 3. Well, you're in the right place. Today, we're diving headfirst into Spring Boot 4. It's a pretty big deal, with some major changes and powerful new features, so let's get right into it. Let's be real, major version upgrades can feel a little scary, right? But trust me, the move to Spring Boot 4 is packed with some incredible structural improvements that are absolutely worth the effort. And because it's such a major shift, we're going to break down exactly how to update your Gradle dependencies step by step. We'll make this as painless as possible. Let's dive in. Okay, first things first. Before you even think about touching a single line of code, we need to talk about preparation. Getting this part right is going to save you a world of headaches down the line. Here is your 4-step game plan. First, make sure you're on the latest stable version of the 3x line. That way, you're starting from a really solid, known good place. Next, hunt down and replace any of those deprecated methods because, well, they're gone for good in version 4. Then you've got to double-check the new system requirements and give all your project dependencies a good review. And when we talk about requirements, we mean it. These are non-negotiable. Spring Boot 4 requires at least Java 17. It's also built on the Jakarta EE11 baseline, which brings Servlet 6.1 along for the ride. Seriously, these aren't just suggestions. They are the new foundation for your entire application. All right, with the prep work out of the way, let's get to the real meat of this migration. Spring Boot 4 takes a huge leap towards a much more modular design, and you're going to feel this change pretty immediately. Okay, this is pretty much the biggest thing you need to wrap your head around. The most significant change you'll hit is how you declare your dependencies in your build.gradle file. The days of those big, kind of clunky, monolithic starters are officially over. The whole idea here is all about being more precise. Spring Boot 4 is all in on smaller, super focused modules. And they all follow a really clean, consistent naming convention, spring-boot-starter- and then whatever the technology is. And honestly, this is a huge win for us. It means a smaller application footprint, faster startup times, and a dependency tree that's way easier to understand. Here's a perfect example you'll run into right away. The old generic Spring Boot Starter Web is now the much more specific Spring Boot Starter Web MVC. It just makes it crystal clear that you're using Spring Web MVC and not, say, WebFlux. It's a small change, but it has a really big impact on clarity. And here are a couple more common ones you'll see. If you're using Flyway, you can't just pull in Flyway core anymore. You now need the official Spring Boot Starter Flyway. And also, take a look at the testing starter. It's often a transitive dependency now, which means you might not even need to declare it directly in your Gradle file anymore. And this brings us to a really crucial point, and it's basically straight from the official guide. If you're using a technology that used to work just by including its core library, you're probably going to run into issues. Now, you almost always need that dedicated Spring Boot starter, which is really just a prepackaged bundle of dependencies to make sure all the auto-configuration magic works correctly. And just so you know, this whole modular thing, it doesn't stop with your main application code. It applies to your test dependencies too. This brings a ton of consistency. It means you're only pulling in the specific testing tools you actually need for the job. So think about this. In Spring Boot 3, if you wanted to use the @with-mock-user annotation, you just needed Spring Security Test. But now, with version 4, that won't work on its own. You have to explicitly add the Spring Boot Starter Security Test dependency right into your Gradle file. All right, so we've talked a lot about what's new, but just as important is what's gone. Let's take a quick look at the key removals and deprecations you need to know about in Spring Boot 4. So, a few big things got the boot. Undertow support is gone, mainly because it's not compatible with Servlet 6.1. Spock integration is also out, at least for now, pending Groovy 5 support. And those fully executable jar scripts? They've been dropped in favor of more modern ways to deploy your apps. Okay, listen up, because this next one is a biggie. It's a massive dependency change you absolutely have to be aware of. The Jackson library, which is Spring's go-to tool for all things JSON, has been upgraded from version 2 to version 3. And trust me, this isn't just a simple version bump. It's got some breaking changes you have to know about. And here it is, the change that's probably going to light up your IDE with compilation errors. The root package name for Jackson has completely changed. Every single one of your import com.fasterly.jackson. statements is going to break. You'll need to update them all.
But be careful, it's not just a package rename. Jackson 3 also tweaked some APIs, so definitely check your custom serializers and deserializers very carefully.
So, we've covered the what and the why. Now, let's get practical. Let's talk about how you're actually going to do this. The Spring team has a really smart strategy they recommend, so let's walk through it. The Spring team actually suggests a really smart two-step path here. First, add the Spring Boot Starter Classic dependency to your Gradle file. This is like a compatibility layer that pulls in a lot of the old dependencies, and it's designed to get your application up and running quickly so you can fix those initial compilation errors. Then, once everything is stable, you can remove that Classic starter and start adding the new specific modular starters one by one. It makes the whole process way more manageable. And I really want to stress this. Think of the classic starters as a temporary bridge to get you across the migration gap. They are not a permanent solution. The real goal here is to fully embrace that new, clean, modular design. So let's just pull all that together, right? First, do your prep work. Check those system requirements and deprecations before you start. Second, embrace the new modularity. Update your Gradle dependencies to use that new Spring Boot starter convention. Third, be ready to handle what's gone, especially things like Undertow and that big Jackson 3 upgrade. And finally, use that two-step classic starter strategy to make the whole process smooth. And there you have it, a clear path to get your Gradle project successfully migrated to Spring Boot 4. I know it's a significant step, but it really sets you up for a more modern, efficient, and maintainable application in the long run. So the real question is, with all this new power and a cleaner project, what are you going to build next?